Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy Long. What are you doing over there? She got me laughing before we even start. We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we are chatting today, really fun show, about a park I really love and that we have gotten to visit a number of times over the last few years. But every single time we go, we always seem to find something new to do there, which is great. And also just a new perspective on it. And it's Grand Canyon National Park.
Right.
It's more than just a giant crevasse. It's surreal.
Right. I think most people have heard of and seen photos of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
But seeing it for yourself is just like, you can't even grasp what it actually feels like to be there. And I remember the first time we went and we were standing there at one of the overlooks. And I remember telling you, it still kind of feels like a painting because you can't, when you're up on the ledges looking down, you still can't grasp how big it is.
Yeah. I mean, it really does. I mean, it's hard to encompass even in words, but pictures a lot of times don't do it justice.
Right.
And we're going to get into all of that, how it was created, the political drama around how it was created, why it was put off for so long and becoming a national park. Also, we're going to take a look at the Northwest and even the elusive East Rims. A lot of stories don't come out of the East Rim, and so people often believe that there is no East Rim. But if, I don't know, there is a North, South, and a West, there's got to be an East, right?
I would think so.
It's really hard to access. Then a little bit later on in the show, we're going to talk to award-winning host, author, and Hollywood stunt woman, Alice Ford. You might know her from Alice's Adventures in Travel on YouTube. And so we're going to chat with her about her experiences there in Grand Canyon. So let's take a look, an overview look of Grand Canyon to start with. Number one, I share a birthday with it.
Oh, you do?
I'm really excited about that. I didn't know that until right now. It was established on February 26, 1919, signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson. You know, he did a few things during that time. I don't know. I'm not going to list them, but he did a few things. But the political drama around Grand Canyon, not to go too deep with it, because you could do an entire show. Well, I could do an entire show.
I didn't realize there was political drama around the national park.
Well,
please tell me.
I'm going to stop a little bit because as soon as I said that, I saw your eyes glaze over. Like,
they did not glaze over. They just
this
guy. I cannot really come up with a reason why there'd be political drama.
And you're like, 20 years of this, people. 20 years of this. Okay. Well, okay. Number one, it was set to become, if it would have gone into being a national park when it was first championed into that time frame, it would have been the third national park.
Okay.
It was first championed by then Senator Benjamin Harrison, who would later become I think he was our 26th president a couple of years later. But that was first in 1882. And it was defeated in Congress. And he basically almost every year until he became president, he put forth a bill and was like, we need to protect this piece of land. I saw it with my own eyes, and this is gorgeous. It's something that needs to be protected. At this time, Yellowstone had just been, a few years earlier, became our first national park. And there was even a place, now Michigan, folks that are from Michigan in that area will know this, but there was actually a second national park that is no longer a national park. That's a state park in Michigan. And it's an island, and forgive me if I mess up the name, but Mackinac.
Yes.
Mackinac?
I think it's Mackinac. And
Okay.
I've told you I want to go to this island.
Mackinac Island in northern Michigan was a national park from 1875 to 1895, when basically the United States granted that island to the state of Michigan with the caveat basically saying, like, if you ever tried to like develop this or sell it and make it anything but a state park, it's going to revert back to the United States, and the federal government, basically.
You can't keep it.
Yeah, you can't keep it. And since then, they've only built like a small airport around it. And
I think automobiles are not allowed on the island, something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, I want to go see it. But I did not know that it was a national park at any point. So that's
there you go. So
interesting history right
there. You go. Okay, your eyes stopped glazing over. So at that time period, there were two national parks. Yellowstone, and Mackinac. Okay. And so Grand Canyon was set to become one. Flash forward, I'm not going to go through everything, but flash forward, it wasn't created until 1919, like I said, becoming our 15th national park.
So, do you know why they refused to make it a national park earlier?
Basically, the people who, it came down to money.
Oh, okay.
Money and greed.
That's not I
Well,
I should have guessed, but I thought it was going to be something more interesting.
People back then, and no, I'm not trying to look back and go, oh, those terrible people. People back then, like miners and like the people who dug for diamonds and stuff, not like young people. Miners, that was a dad joke. That was a total dad joke. Miners and like farmers and people who were who lived around the area at the time, remember, it was a totally different place than it is now in those areas of the country. They wanted to develop it economically and use the resources around it. Theodore Roosevelt, who was our president, early in there, he saw it. He wanted to, he knew because he went to Yellowstone and he was like, oh, we're going to protect this. And he said basically the same thing about Grand Canyon, but there was a lot of opposition because people saw, the beauty of they saw dollar signs, and the Colorado River runs through it. And so there was a lot of economic pushback against it. Teddy Roosevelt did actually put some things in place. It became I think it became like a national forest first, and then a national monument before years later becoming a national park. In 1979, forward again, it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And now, like you said, almost 5 million visitors a year.
Wow.
Covering 1.2 million acres of land out there. It's beautiful and majestic, and all of those big adjective words that I don't understand and can't point out in sentences, but I use them all the time. I'm very bad at what I do. But, mention the Colorado River, 278 miles of Colorado River over millions and millions of years have carved out probably one of our greatest national treasures as far as beauty and just, are kind of giving back to, the earth and the, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going with that.
I don't know where you're going with that either, to be honest. But as you said, we've been there a few times. There is a fee to get into it because it is a national park. So they are making a little bit of money on it, but it's not a big fee. And we always use our America the Beautiful pass to get in.
Wonderful pass. We
get every year, so we have access to all of the national parks and forests and all those other great sites. But it's so big that we still have only explored a fraction of it. Mm-hmm. And every time we go down there, we see a whole new part of it. And every time we go, we meet people from all over the world who have come to Arizona to see this big hole in the ground. Because
like it's beautiful, it's majestic. You're like, it's a hole in the ground.
But it is a hole in the ground. But it's a hole in the ground that everybody wants to see for themselves at least once, right?
The people in Grand Canyon, they should hire us to do the marketing for them. Look at this beautiful hole in the ground. The obvious stuff is the busiest time of the year to visit is summertime. That's when the most visitors are going to show up. And that's actually when this park is probably the most dangerous as well. People underestimate how hot it gets around the Grand Canyon, how much water you need to drink, and how treacherous those trails. It looks fun going downhill into the canyon on Bright Angel Trail and places like that. But going back up is a little bit different story. Fall and spring, optimal time, of course, for weather. Winter is the best time. Honestly, if you want to avoid the crowds, it does get a little snowy there, which a lot of people, I don't think, realize.
But a lot of the trails will be closed.
A lot of the trails and attractions are closed around that time. So, and we're going to get deeper into it. We're going to tell you about our experiences in the different realms of the national park and our fun times there, right? Okay, stick right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We're talking Grand Canyon National Park. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, and we're talking about the beauty and wonder of the Grand Canyon National Park. And we mentioned earlier we were going to chat a little bit about the different rims that you can visit. There's a north, a south, a west, and an east rim. But let's get into technicalities, right? Because we're talking about the actual national park. And there are technicalities involved because people know there is a west rim and an east rim, but neither one of these rims is technically inside the national park.
Right. The west rim actually sits on tribal land, and you have a totally different fee that you pay there, and your America the Beautiful Pass does not cover this. And they have a general admission fee just to be in the park and see the various overlooks. And then they also have a zip line. And this is also where what they call the skywalk is. It's the glass-bottomed, horseshoe-shaped bridge that you can walk out on, and you're standing over a section of the Grand Canyon. Yeah. And each of these things is also an additional ticket on top of your general admission ticket. But you cannot go in at the west and then drive into the actual national park side. You would have to come back out and go down to the north or south rim to get into the national park.
Right. The skywalk and the west rim, if you've come to Vegas, this is the closest trip you can make. And it's a good little day trip if you want to just get out to the canyon, see a part of it, and, get back to, your adulting and gambling and all of that stuff on the Strip.
Yeah, it's about a 1.5, 2 hour drive from Vegas.
And they have tons of tours that if you don't have a car or anything like that, they'll pick you up from the hotel, drive you out there, leave you for dead. I mean, they'll show you these things and bring you back. So the skywalk is this glass bottom arch-shaped, like cantilever, like bridge that it's like you go walk out onto this thing and you're over 4,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
To the bottom of the canyon, which just saying that made me sweat.
I know. You refuse to do it. That's why we have never done this, because if anybody's listened to the show, they know that when we've gone up in the Space Needle at Seattle, you would not stand on the glass floor section.
I don't understand why I would do that.
Knowing you wouldn't do that, we have not made the trek to the skywalk because I just know you're not going to walk out.
I'm going to chicken out as soon as we get there. And that to me is a waste of money.
I agree.
Like even the zip line, I'm like, no.
You don't want to zip line over the Grand Canyon?
If you go to GrandCanyonWest.com, okay, this part of the Grand Canyon and this area and the skywalk and all that, this is controlled by the native tribe out there. So they run the business operation of this. And it even says on here, the skywalk is strong enough to hold 70, that's 70, fully loaded 747 passenger jets. That's how strong it is, allegedly. Have they ever stacked?
They haven't tested it.
Have they ever stacked 70 planes on there? So, yeah, I'm a little skeptical. I would be the one. Okay.
You would be the one.
I would be the one. That is just my luck. I would walk out there and all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, we just we forgot to put that glass pane there or something like.
Oh, please. But if you look at the pictures, it really doesn't extend that far out over the canyon. I mean, it's several feet. So yes, you are standing over the Grand Canyon, but you are very close to the edge of the cliff. You could easily jump back to safety.
I could easily jump. Have you ever seen me jump? You have, and that's a lie. But 4,000 feet is very tall.
Well, yeah.
That's a long enough way down for you to think about what's happening.
For you to comprehend that you are falling.
And me, Wile E. Coyote, I'd just be holding a sign like, help me, and just fall and just watch you the entire time.
A tumbleweed blow below you.
Just contemplating life and everything. Just looking at you going, I told you, Anyway, so you could do that on the West Rim. The East Rim. Okay, so the East Rim probably gets the least amount of love from everything. And it's another one that's not officially part of the national park, but you can get to it. And if you do go this route, you can enjoy tons of, like crowdless viewpoints and things like this, because it's the least visited side of the Grand Canyon. Why do you think
it's the least visited?
It's the least accessible.
Oh, okay.
It is accessible. You can go to a place called Cameron, Arizona, and there's Highway 64 that leads into parts of the Grand Canyon. And I know a lot of people don't know this. There's a Colorado River that cuts through and created the Grand Canyon. There's also a little Colorado River.
Oh, I didn't know
officially called the Little Colorado River. And there's all kinds of overlooks and like gorge overlooks and everything before you get to the main part, but it's still a part of the Grand Canyon. It's just also on tribal land. So, you have your own rules and different things out there than the national park. So there are experiences you can go to. They even have a website, and they have tons of rafting experiences and tours, guided tours, self-guided tours, and different things like that, where you can go and get down into the gorges and see a totally different side of the Grand Canyon than what normal visitors might see.
Right.
So like those experiences are there too, for you. They're just way different, and they're not officially a part of it, but we still talk about them because, one love, man,
Right. I mean, I always hear people talk about the North and South Rim.
Mm-hmm.
We know of the West Rim because we do live in Vegas, and we've driven by signs on the highways like this, turn this way for the West Rim. But you're right. I never hear anybody mention the East Rim. And I guess logically I knew there was one, but we've never been over there. Yeah.
And then if you travel a little bit further up the road, if you go to Cameron, Arizona, which is kind of out there, I know at least one of our episodes, we chatted about Page, Arizona. Mm-hmm. Page, Arizona, and Lake Powell, and the Glen Canyon Dam, all of that forms the very tip of like the Grand Canyon is kind of where this starts forming, even though it's not a part of it. But this is where, if you go through like Jacob Lake and these parts of Arizona, you can get to the North Rim, which is it's less populated. Mm-hmm. There are less services, but there are places to lodge. There are restaurants in that area. But if you don't like crowds, you're going to go to the North Rim or the East Rim. These areas where you're going to get a little bit more, just a little secluded. If you want to leave the phone and kind of venture out there and do all of that, the North Rim and the East Rim are your choices.
Yeah, I think most people do go to the South Rim. That's where we have been the most. It's like the biggest entrance into the Grand Canyon National Park. And to me, it's like if you want to see all those different overlooks and points and do some of the hiking, like it's easiest to get there from the South Rim. So that's why it's probably the most popular of all of the entrances in the park.
You're going to have the most services. You're going to have the, paved roads and lodging and restaurants and all of that good stuff.
Right.
And we're going to talk more about that. But first, when we come back, we're going to talk to celebrated author and stunt woman of all things, Alice Ford, when we come back. It's the Unscaled Travel Show.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. So glad that you're going to join us. Continuing on our little adventures. What you doing today? Running some errands? Well, that's good. Get out there, pick up your dry cleaning. Pick up someone else's dry cleaning. Who knows? Don't pay for it, though. Run off with it. That's bad advice. Don't do that. Our guest today is Alice Ford. Alice is an award-winning host, author, stunt woman, conservationist, and executive producer. She is the host of the TV series Alice's Adventures on Earth, which you can find on Roku, Amazon, the World Discovery app, and the Parks Channel app. You can also find clips of her adventures on her very popular YouTube channel. And if you don't catch all of that, you can still see glimpses of her in Hollywood blockbusters such as Transformers, Spider-Man, Stranger Things, where she's putting her athletic skills to the test as a Hollywood stunt person. Alice, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Oh, man, see, you owe me $1 now. Every time I give a good one, you owe me $1. Well, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about Alice Ford's adventure travel series.
Absolutely. Well, as you may expect, I have a pretty adventurous background. I did a lot of sports growing up. I grew up in a beautiful place up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. And my parents really have a lot of the reason behind why I love to travel so much, because we traveled a lot growing up and spent a lot of times hiking and exploring out in the woods. So my adventure travel show very much mirrors kind of my upbringing. I do a lot of hiking, a lot of backpacking, camping, and solo adventures as a woman all across the world. I've stayed with indigenous cultures. I've been to all 7 continents. And I showcase all of that on my YouTube channel and my TV show as well, which is on PBS.
Wow. I mean, that's really exciting. You kind of do have this varied background as far as, you grew up in the Northeast, but also you spent time in Arizona, and we've been chatting about the Grand Canyon and everything. So that, you couldn't find 2 more different places in that beautiful part of the country and the rugged beauty of Arizona and Grand Canyon and all that. So you've been there, I know, a number of times. Do you have any favorite memories or anything you can share from your adventures in that area?
Yeah, actually, funnily enough, I went to college in Arizona. So I've spent a lot of time not only living in the state, but visiting the Grand Canyon as well. I grew up with photographs from the deep canyons in Antelope Canyon that were on my bathroom wall because my dad went there in the 60s and 70s. So it was always this place that I wanted to go even as a little kid. And so in my adult life, I've been 3 or 4 times now. And it's always spectacular. Even if you just drive in to just take a look over the rim into the canyon and don't have time to do anything else, that's just enough to take in the awe-inspiring, like just mind-blowing landscape that is the Grand Canyon. And one of my favorite experiences is definitely just staying on the rim in the El Tovar Lodge, which is one of the kind of older, more historic hotels along the rim of the Grand Canyon. At nighttime, elk often walk along the pathway. So if you're walking back from dinner, you might walk into one. So you definitely have to keep your wits about you and make sure you're looking around at all times as well. But that's definitely one of my favorite parts about staying there.
If you are visiting the Grand Canyon for the first time, are there any activities or experiences that you would suggest some must-dos for people?
Yeah, I definitely think if you're planning a trip there, first, it's going to really depend on how much time you have and what kinds of activities you're capable of doing. Visiting the Grand Canyon can be very strenuous depending on the time of year. It can be very hot and dry, or it can have kind of crazy weather. So depending on, I guess, what you're looking for, you can do like a scenic train ride into the Grand Canyon, which is very fantastic, especially if you're not like a big hiker. The mule trips are fantastic, and there are a bunch of different kinds of mule trips that you can do. And there's also whitewater rafting, which I think for me is always kind of one of the Grand Canyon classics, but you do need to book that sometimes years in advance. Because it can sell out really quickly. And then, of course, there's a scenic helicopter flight over the Grand Canyon if you're willing to spend a little bit more dough as well.
The weather there does get a little unpredictable at times. Most people think it's that flat and arid and things of that nature. But I've visited on seemingly warm days and there's fresh snow on the ground. And it's just kind of this wild weather thing. So you always need to be prepared. And speaking of, you mentioned one of the more popular experiences in the Grand Canyon in hiking. Are there some trails that you might recommend for different varying degrees of, physical fitness and able-bodiedness?
Absolutely. And let me just say one thing about the weather too. The Grand Canyon actually creates its own weather system. So if you are going to the Grand Canyon, always make sure you're packing for like those different variations in weather. Make sure you have something for rain, definitely sun protection, and lots and lots of water. So as far as trails go, if you're visiting the South Rim, which is the more popular and easily accessible part of the park, there are a bunch of different trails. You could do the Bright Angel Trail, which is about 10 miles. It goes all the way down to the river and then you go back up. So this is considered strenuous. And if you are going to do this trail, I would avoid doing it at peak summer because it's going to be too hot. But if you do that anyways, I would recommend going really early in the morning or later in the afternoon when the temperatures are a little bit cooler. Another down to the river and back trail is the South Kaibab Trail. This is about 7 miles, and it's got breathtaking panoramic views. It's a little bit shorter, but it is a little bit steeper than Bright Angel, so you are going to have a little bit more elevation. And another one is the Hermit Trail. This is also 9 miles. It's pretty strenuous as well, but it is less crowded and a little bit more rugged. So if you're looking for more of a remote experience, that one's really great. And then you can also just walk along the rim. If you're looking for something kind of short with less strain, walk along the rim for as long as you want, take in some of those views, stop at one of the lodges for lunch, and return to your car or the train to call it a day.
We're chatting with Alice Ford, host of television's Alice's Adventures on Earth. In your experience out there, I mean, we know the popular spots, they're popular because people enjoy them. They look great in cameras on your iPhone or Boost mobile phone. But are there any lesser known spots or activities around the Grand Canyon that maybe you wouldn't mind recommending?
Yeah, absolutely. As we've said, I think most people go to the South Rim. If you have the time and you're okay with being a little bit farther removed from civilization, visiting just the North Rim in general is fantastic. There's also a little canyon called Shinumo Creek and Shinumo Falls. This is in an inner canyon that has this beautiful crystal clear water and a little waterfall as well with a little natural pool you can sometimes take a swim in. This is along the North Kaibab Trail, or it's also reachable via whitewater rafting. So it's not super easy to get to, but if you're a serious hiker or you're heading out on a raft, that's a really cool spot that you can go. Another option is to actually do a tour with the Hopi. There's a place called Coal Mine Canyon, which is just beautiful, colorful cousin of the Grand Canyon. It is on Native American land, so you do have to go with a Hopi guide. But a lot of the experiences that you can do with the Hopi are just really fantastic, lesser discovered, and more unique and private than some of the experiences at the Grand Canyon.
I hope you folks have been writing this stuff down. She's given so much good information. There you go. I mean, I hope you are. I'm not going to post it anywhere else. You got to listen. Alice, thank you so much. But if people want to follow along with all of your adventures, everything that you're doing, where can they find you?
Absolutely. I've got a website called Alice'sAdventuresOnEarth.com. You can kind of find everything there, but I'm also on YouTube at Alice Ford Adventures and on Instagram at Alice's Adventures on Earth as well.
Alice Ford, it has been so wonderful chatting with you. You gave us so much great information. Folks, if you want to follow along, please do just like she said, or you can catch all of our past episodes and interviews at unscaledtravelshow.com and right here on our brand new YouTube channel. We appreciate your time, Alice. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to talk to you again down the road.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hi.
We are coming to you from somewhere, Las Vegas, Nevada. There you go. In the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're talking about the Grand Canyon National Park. Thank you so much to award-winning host, author, stuntperson, executive producer of the TV series Alice's Adventures on Earth, Alice Ford, for joining us, giving us a lot of great information there and what you can do and enjoy. And so we're going to just kind of piggyback off those thoughts, kind of mix in our own adventures, the things that we've done. Now, primarily focusing on the South Rim at this point, going into the park. There is an entrance fee. If you do a lot of national parks, we highly recommend the America the Beautiful National Park Pass. It covers a lot of beautiful places here in the United States. And if you're military or senior, I know military I think is free. Senior is very reduced. And I think for normal folk right now, it's about $80 for an entire year.
For a car.
For a car full.
Yeah.
A car full, not per person, but per car. So it's a great investment if you do travel a lot to our national parks, national forests, and different places like that cover or have an entrance fee. A lot of these places are covered. So once you get there. Now, one of our favorite places to go to before we go to the Grand Canyon is Flagstaff.
Right.
It's probably a main thorough, I don't know, what do you call it? A hub? I was going to say something else. But it's a main hub.
You were going to say thoroughfare?
Yeah. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So I was right. It's a main hub. Hub is easier. Hub is easier. So Flagstaff is a lot of fun for us to go visit.
Right.
And it actually has one of your favorite little bookstores.
I know. I do love that little bookstore in the downtown Flagstaff area. You don't see a lot of independent bookstores anymore. You don't see a lot of bookstores in general anymore. And my favorite one is down there. And I know you have it pulled up, but what street is it on?
What street is it on?
Sorry. I thought you had that. I thought you had it right there. It's Brightside Bookstore.
Brightside Bookstore.
And it's right there in the little downtown area. Every time we're in Flagstaff, we go in there and I buy a couple of books. I want to support this.
It's on North San Francisco Street.
Okay. North San Francisco. A lot of times when we go on the weekends, they do have like farmers markets taking place on the streets around there. And we'll pop into the bookstore and I'll buy a couple of books to support this store. So
Brightside Bookshop, yep.
If you're in Flagstaff and you're a reader like me, stop in Brightside.
They also have a really, really great observatory.
They do.
The Lowell Observatory is incredible. It was founded in, I think, 1894. It's centered on a hilltop right outside of Flagstaff. And there's some great stargazing opportunities in Flagstaff and around those areas as well.
Right. And speaking of stargazing, because we are talking about the national park or Grand Canyon National Park, a friend of mine, her and her husband and their 2 kids just went to Grand Canyon last month, and they did a 3-day guided backpacking trip through Grand Canyon where they backpacked and slept on cots overnight. And she called me afterwards and just said how amazing this trip was, and she's so glad that they did it. But she was a little concerned because you are supposed to be able to carry a backpack that weighs up to 50 pounds. And they had their younger children with them. She wasn't sure how well that would work. But she said their guides were incredible. And every time she would start to get a little frustrated, the guides would just kind of crack some jokes and bring her back in. But she's like, by the end of the trip, her kids said it was one of the best vacations they had ever been on. So highly recommended from my friend to do a guided backpacking trip through the Grand Canyon. And you can book it all on the National Parks website, nps.gov.
And there are tons of family-friendly adventures that you can have throughout the year. We mentioned things like you just mentioned the backcountry camping. There's all kinds of hiking for different various levels of fitness. But always be careful during the summertime. It gets deceptively hot out there. And in some places, there's very little shade. Okay. There are biking trails. And there are easier biking trails. Like there's a paved section of the Greenway of the Rim Trail, which kind of goes along the, not super close to the edge, obviously, of the Grand Canyon. But it's right there at the Grand Canyon Visitor Center and goes all the way to the South Kabob Trailhead. It's about 5 miles of pretty level, paved bike lane or walking lane, hiking lane, whatever you want to do, with little to no car traffic and things like that. So if you have younger kids or you're just looking for an easy opportunity to just get out there and kind of see the beauty of this national park, that's a good opportunity. There's also junior ranger programs for younger kids or educational opportunities. If you like to book lane vacations, there's that. So you didn't totally over your head. Guided tours, and we mentioned river rafting in warmer months, but there is also the Grand Canyon Railway train.
Yes.
one of your favorite things to, even though we haven't done it yet.
Well, every time I try to do it, something comes up.
Yeah.
But you can take a train from a smaller town in Arizona. That's, I think it's about an hour and a half outside of Grand Canyon. You can take the train from, I think it's Williams, Arizona, into the Grand Canyon. You have the opportunity, depending on what pass you get, to either stay the night in the Grand Canyon or take the train back. But what a fantastic way to see the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
We've driven through the Grand Canyon, the South Rim, several times, stopping at the various overlooks. But I think being on a train that takes you through it, like, that's just a whole different experience. And I really want to do this.
And of course, different times of year, they also have around Christmas time to have like the Polar Express. I don't know if legally they can call it the Polar Express.
I don't think they can.
I don't think a lot of trains
I don't
can.
think they care.
Stupid Hollywood. But different things like that, and they do it throughout the year, and it has tons of great reviews, and it's one of those things you should definitely look into. But definitely look into it as soon as you can if you are planning a trip, because the tickets on this thing sell out quickly.
Right.
It is incredibly popular, but it's a lot of fun. So there you go. But inside the actual national park, there are a limited number of modern lodging. Yes, there's the lodge at the bottom of the Grand Canyon that people often talk about, which is super hard to get into. I know Alice mentioned it a couple of times when we were chatting, but it often is booked out years in advance to get down there. But there are more basic lodgings like up before you have to even go down into the Grand Canyon. But they offer camping, backcountry camping, all kinds of things like that to do. Bicycling, touring, stargazing trips, guided trips. There's even the mule trips that we mentioned where you can take a mule. Not a donkey, a mule. I was corrected on that.
You were corrected on that.
Mule. And you can ride a mule to the bottom of the canyon and back up, and it looks fun. I don't want to do that to a poor animal, because if I don't think the Skywalk is going to hold me, then poor little mule.
I don't think a mule will either.
I don't think a mule is going to appreciate that.
As you said, for the people that want to go hike down to the bottom, going down isn't the problem.
Yeah.
It's the coming back up.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It's deceptive. And that kind of leads to the safety. And you don't want to be that person that's always harping on safety. But every year, it seems, accidents happen, people being foolish, people doing crazy things, because it doesn't seem, like we've said it several times, it doesn't seem real. It seems like you could be able to, even if you do slip, it's sandstone too, a lot of it. So it's not, it's often loose gravel and things like that. So you've seen people all the time, unfortunately, have tragic accidents out there. And it's almost every single year that someone falls, people have to be rescued.
Every time we've been out there, we've seen people going around the guardrails and climbing out farther onto the edges. Farther
and farther and farther. And it is, especially if you have little ones, obviously watch after them, but it's most of the time grown people who are really kind of pushing the envelope on where they can visit, where they should visit. Like the guardrails aren't there to kill your good time. They're there to keep you safe. And if you don't like that kind of stuff, like, if you don't like heights like I do, I'm like, why would you do that? You have perfectly good ground right here. Why would you go out there?
For a selfie.
Yeah. For all 12 of your followers on Instagram, you're going to risk your life. But, that's just, stay hydrated, bring protection from the sun, because again, it gets deceptively hot and everything out there, but there's tons of fun things to do for your family.
And there's lots of animals. Both times we've been there, we have seen wild animals walking through. We had to stop while we were driving to let a family of deer pass by on the road. It was lovely. We've seen wild rabbits, chipmunks, a lot of wild animals, but these are wild animals, so please don't try to pet the wild animals.
And they will try to scam you and sell you fake tickets, so be careful of those scams too. This is the Unscaled Travel Show, talking Great Canyon National Park. We will see you guys next time.